Okay, Greg. So I promised you a Arduino video, and so this is it. So here's my Arduino, and there's an LED here, and that LED indicates I don't know what. There's an LED here. That LED indicates um, that the unit is on. So I know that it's connected to my USB port. And there are two LEDs over here, RX and TX, and they're not blinking at all, meaning that it's not transmitting anything. Okay, so back to this. So this is my Arduino IDE, and this is version 1.8.1, and it's the latest. And I had some problems when I installed this, but I fixed them, and we're ready to go. So to use a serial port, you need to initialize it with a serial begin. We talked about that. And then after the serial begin, I always put in a line that sort of identifies the program. And that way, if I pick up some Arduino and I just plug it in, it reports to me like what kind of program it is. Um, Here I've set a variable, an integer variable x, and set it to 0. And then in the loop portion of my code, I have a print line that prints x squared, basically. And then waits 100 milliseconds and increments x. Okay, so that's what this does. And so if we run this, we'll see we're starting at 0, so we'll see 0, 1, and then 4, and then 9, and then 16, etc. So let's compile it, and I can see the Arduino clicking, and in fact, if you look at it now, the TX light is lit on the Arduino, so I know it's transmitting something. Now, an unusual thing about the Arduino is that once I start the serial monitor, it's going to restart the code. So, it may be at some number, it's at some number greater than 0 now. When I start the serial monitor, it will start out again at 0. So, boom. See, so now beginning serial, and there's all my numbers. If if you have trouble getting this to happen on yours, one thing to do is go down here and check the baud rate, and you'll be able to set the correct baud rate. This line ending is doesn't affect anything that you read. It only affects values that you send up here. Okay, and then auto scroll is here. So if I do that, now you see the numbers are not scrolling up the page, but the scroll bar is moving, indicating that that more data is being captured and buffered. Now the interesting thing about this code, and I'd have to do an analysis to figure out why this is, but um, I get to very large numbers and then it goes down to 528. I think I might understand why that is, but that's unimportant here because we're talking about the serial stuff now. So an interesting thing in this 1.8.1 that I hadn't seen before is that there's this thing called serial plotter. And if I click on that, whoa, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, well, I still have part of my code that's not numbers. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm not even sure that it really starts if I start up that serial plotter. So um, let's go and load it, and then once it's done uploading, go to the serial plotter and see what happens. Oh yeah. So you see it's plotting the square law. It's taking every value that it gets and continues the plot. Now the problem with this is that you see the y-axis continues to change, but then boom, we end up with like a super large number and everything falls apart. So this probably isn't the best way to go about plotting your data, as you can see. So what would be a better way? Well, one better way would be to just capture the data to a CSV file. Now, oftentimes I would rather plot the data as XY pairs. And so if I wanted to do that, plot the data as XY pairs, I would have a serial dot print here, and I would print X, and then CSV stands for comma separated value. So I'm going to put a comma in here to separate my X value from my Y value, which is X squared. Okay. And I want to limit this so that it doesn't go nuts. So I'm going to put in here, I could put a for loop in, but I'm going to put a while. So I'm going to say while X is less than or equal to 20. And I'll take that, all of this, and put it in a block, including the X++. Close the block. And the other thing I'll do is I'm going to move my int x equal to 0 inside here. So it's always going to start from 0. So Control X that, pop it in here. Okay. So now I've got my x initialized to 0, and then while x is less than 20, it's going to continue to do this, and then x++, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I've taken my my text out of here so that I can better plot the data, and here we go. In fact, what I might do is, instead of that, if I'm going to delay like 5 seconds, and that way after it's loaded, it'll wait 5 seconds before it moves into doing this, and that gives me time to press the button to do that plot thing. Okay, so boom, tools, time to press the button to do the plot thing. And because I don't know if it reset the Arduino or not, and there it goes, and oh, well, you see what's happening now is it's plotting X separately from Y, right? So interesting picture, but not so helpful. And if I go to the serial monitor, now it's going to wait the 5 seconds before it starts up again. And now it prints 0 to 20, 0 to 20, 0 to 20, and the squares. Okay. But the thing that's not helpful about the serial monitor is that I can't take that data and put it somewhere else. So so I'm going to make my code stall on purpose. So while I'd put a while one and just the semicolon. Basically, it's going to go through this loop once, and then it's going to just sit in this while one forever. And I'll take out this delay 5000. And now we'll program it, and what we should see is that we open the serial monitor, it should go once, and that's the end. Okay. So like I said, problem with the serial monitor is that it can't, you can't save that data anywhere. But if I open up a terminal program, so let me find my terminal program. Oops. Find my terminal program, which is TerraTerm. And run that. I have no idea what came up here. I do not want that. Okay, so TerraTerm comes up like this, and you want to pick the serial port COM3 and say OK. And you can see now it's given me all the numbers. If I want to save those numbers, I can create a log file and put it on my desktop. So I could call it squares dot, and the extension is important, CSV, and you'll see why. So save that to CSV, and now to get the numbers rolling again, I'm going to press the reset button on the Arduino, so the reset button is there. Press the reset button, and there's my numbers. But now the numbers are being logged, okay? So if I look on my desktop somewhere, there ought to be a file that says squares. There it is. Squares. And you see squares, when I've given it the, oh, it says 0 bytes. That's not good. I may have to close the log or do something like view log. Let's do that. Boom. There's my squares. So now my CSV, I look at squares again. Properties. Yeah, now squares has 144 bytes. So if I take that and I double click it, it will open Excel. And it says, oh, squares is locked for editing by another user. Yeah, that's because I didn't close TerraTerm. So what if I close TerraTerm first? So there's TerraTerm. I'll close it. I'll get Arduino out of the way, and I'll do that. And now you see how it nicely loads into an Excel spreadsheet, and I can select that, and then I can say insert, and I'll insert a chart, and usually XY is what I choose because now I've got the proper X values and the proper Y values on the chart. So that's how you do it. If you run into problems, let me know. Okay, I'm only allowed 15 minutes on this YouTube video, so I'm gonna kill this